Having previously done a comparison video for Esports Boxing Club versus Fight Night Champion based on footage we had been given, it feels only right to now update on that with the name change to Undisputed and the fact that I got to play Undisputed Multiplayer Beta Test. Please bear in mind that Undisputed is still an unfinished game and as such we must judge it accordingly. Welcome to gaming and welcome to Undisputed Boxing Beta versus Fight Night Champion, a comparison. Starting with the graphics again, and as mentioned in the previous video, Fight Night Champion was a great looking game when it released back on the PS3, but in comparison to this new boxing game which has come along over a decade later, it doesn't stand a chance. While I feel that the Undisputed Beta didn't look as good as it has done in some of the promotional videos and the model stills, while we were playing it still had a great overall look. Unfortunately, due to being a beta test, the player had limited graphical options. I really wanted to remove the blur effect as I hate it in all games, but couldn't. Also, some of the alternate cameras shown in Undisputed promos looked to offer something real immersive, but we could not access those during this test time. The fight HUD and the menu looked very clean in Undisputed Beta. I've said before that I didn't mind the Fight Night Champion look, the HUD or the menu, but the menu was more like a standard EA menu. And the HUD was very basic, but it worked. I do think the Undisputed Boxing HUD and menus are very clean, very simple and very effective. For the movement, it was a bit of a shock how close Undisputed Beta felt to Fight Night Champion. From promotional stuff that we've seen over the years, the movement of Undisputed looks to be vastly superior, while it still had the edge during the beta weekend when compared to the stiff movement of Fight Night Champion. It was nowhere near as good as I believe we will see in the final game. Being able to switch to a loose footwork approach certainly opened things up in Undisputed Beta, but movement from the dodging felt quite stiff, but the punches did flow nice, especially off a duck under move which I enjoyed pulling off. And on to the punches, the thing the community has been so unsure of ever since Undisputed Boxing first announced itself onto the gaming landscape as Esports Boxing Club. Having got to play it, I have to say it feels much better than it looked, especially when the added vibration functionality was implemented on day 3 of testing. The removal of the invisible barrier that most fight games have made things very interesting when approaching how to throw your punches. Punches that don't quite land and glide over the top of the back or the head felt quite realistic to me. Overall though, the punching didn't feel a million miles different to Fight Night Champion. Of course, naturally a boxing game is going to feel similar to another boxing game. Where the Undisputed Beta did stand out was with the variations in punches. You can throw a few variants of the jab, for instance. Punch feint was wonderful though, and a fantastic addition to a boxing game. The environments of Undisputed Beta were fine. We didn't really get to see so much of this. There were a few models that stood at the ringside which were pretty fleshed out models. The models in the crowd further back were a little less polished, but having them move around in the back was a good way to make the arena feel alive. I said in the previous comparison that Fight Night Champion's crowd may look a bit goofy now, but it worked at the time. By the third day of the Undisputed Beta, we got a celebration scene post-fight, and this added to us being able to immerse ourselves in the action. The ring walks were decent enough, but lacked the added members of the boxing team. Once again, those things will surely be added back in for the full release though. So to conclude, while Undisputed Boxing Beta was far from the finished product, it was a very promising start for this new boxing game, only barely scratching the surface of where this boxing game will go and how far in advancement it is compared to Fight Night Champion. I'm extremely excited to play Undisputed again, and you should subscribe to Welcome to Gaming now if you'd like to hear and see more of the game in the future.